Today's video is all about make or break. It's now or never, or do or die for 5 Detroit Lions players. On this list, I got players that are young players to old. Why would this be a now or never situation for them? Multiple reasons. It could be lack of development. It could be injury. Multiple said reasons. But these players most definitely need to step up in 2025 in training camp early and prove their worth. Why is that? Because the Lions are good at getting players to come in here and get the job done. And if they're not doing it, the players that are on this list, they're going to get pushed away. And that's just hashtag facts. But before we get into today's video, if you do me a solid and hit that like button, if we get to 200 likes, it definitely pushes the video out there. It helps out in this lull. Let's get into my 5 players. Let's start with the easiest one here first, and that's Broderic Martin. This one is simple to explain. We drafted this man a couple years ago, trade up, expecting him to be a player who is going to be on that interior, giving breaks to DJ Reader, Lee McNeil, Levi. That has not occurred. He has not developed. His worth on the interior has slipped significantly. Matter of fact, I was told in the regular season last year that he was going to have a hard time making the football team in training camp this year. And it's clear. You draft Tyleek, you bring in Roy, you already have DJ Reader, Lee McNeil eventually is going to come back. It spells doom for Broderic Martin. And if he wants to be a Lion, he's got to get to work time now. He's got to do it. Or his time in Detroit's going to be over. And it's just simple as that. The average year a player spends in the NFL is 3 years. And Broderic, you're coming up with it, man. So we all want you to step up. But if you don't, you're going to step out. So question for you, will this be Broderic Martin's last year in Detroit? Why for yes, if you believe so, and for no, if you say, nah. Number 2 player on my list here is Marcus Davenport. Yes, Marcus Davenport, the beloved player by this coaching staff and regime. You're going to say, Mike, why would you have a player on here that they covet and that they like? Well, this is now or never. This is not, future. This is now or never. And the Detroit Lions have a position on the edge that they would like to get to a quarterback. They want that 285-pound guy. They want what Davenport brings to Detroit. His ability is quality. He's high. He's got some good work to his game. But he's injured. And I'm going to tell you right now, you got to stay healthy this year. You pick up Hassanin. You've heard the rage from SportsCenter, ESPN, Pat McAfee, big media, local media, Mike Valenti, Pride of Detroit, MLive. You've heard it from YouTubers like myself, Lions Talk Live, AG, everybody. Edge. Davenport. We don't care what you bring on the field. Well, we do, right? But you need to be on the field. And if Davenport cannot stay healthy this year on his low contract that they reoffered him, no way he's coming back. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell staked their reputation, in my opinion, a little bit on this man. And if he comes out and gets injured, how embarrassing is that going to look to Campbell, Holmes, that they staked their reputation on, they staked that this guy can help the Lions win a Super Bowl, that we don't need to go out there and get another edge. We don't need to get this other player. We don't need to trade for this player. We have Davenport. And if he becomes crap-import and broken-port, well, he's going to get transported and deported out of the Detroit Lions organization after this year, at least. It wouldn't be this year. It'd be after this year, at least for Davenport, or if he was to get healthy, right, like an IR type of situation or something. But a lot of people, he's already on kind of thin ice, at least for the fan base, maybe not for the coaching staff and Brad Holmes and then, but for the fan base, he sure is, right? Look, because we're tired of injuries. I have read every comment. I see it all. We all are Lions fans. We all have the same reaction to the injury-prone players. It is your reaction is no different from mine and vice versa. You just kind of get tired of it after a while. And so once that occurs, once you get tired of it, the fed up, the boos and everything starts to come out, the articles come out, and this is what potentially could occur. We want him to stay healthy, but he's got to step up. And he'll be here for training camp unless he gets injured, right? Everything, but he's got to do it. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to do it, man. Just like Levi had to stay healthy last year, you have to do it. Which Lions player must prove himself most in 2025? Place a name in the comments. Third player on my list here is Joshua Paschal. Paschal is not painting a pretty picture since he's been here. He hasn't. Let's keep it a buck. I actually do like what he brings on the field. I actually saw growth from Paschal in his performance perspective last year. He did grow. To say that he didn't is a lie. But he's still dealing with injuries. Every game I felt like last year, he was dinged up, getting out of the game. Now, it's not like he was out multiple weeks, but it's all the time his tenure has been about injury, right? But if he can't consistently stay healthy, how are you going to continue to develop? Because he does have a lack of development. Now, I like his development that he did last year, but his development has been much slower, and I think that maybe the coaching staff, the general manager thought it would be, right? I think his development has been much slower, and I do believe there's a little bit of hamper, obviously, due to the injuries that he's had throughout his tenure here, right? The little injuries, it does hamper you after a little bit. Again, just like we talked about with Davenport, the Lions will let him walk in free agency if he comes out and sucks or doesn't progress this year. Do you think the Lions are going to go, we're going to give this guy a mega deal? I don't see that at all happening. If they felt like maybe I think the best for Paschal is a 1-year prove it to stay healthy like he did with Levi. But look, if he reverts to back to kind of what he has been doing, right, in regards to being dinged up, not taking the next step, what if you see Hassanin pass him up in production? That's a bad thing, right? A player who was drafted in the second round, 3-4 years ago, and he still ain't developed, so it's a cause for concern. He is definitely one of these players that's close to being gone. Next player on my list here is Colby Sorsdal. And boy, oh boy, he's on thin ice. But look, with Frank Ragnow retiring, his ice got a little bit thicker, but he really is on thin ice. I don't think he's going to make it. And why is that? The Lions, they drafted him to be on this offensive line. You could put him, they could try him on the interior. They tried them on the outside, playing tackle, blah, 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 whatever you want to call it. He hasn't progressed. Kayode Usika's the backup. Dan Skipper is the backup. Hell, I have more faith in Giovanni Manu. Miles Frazier, who he drafted. Hey, Ratledge. It's over if he don't step up. It's over if you don't step up. Are you kidding me? How you can't pass up Kayode Usika? And I like Kayode. It's not a knock to him at all. It's a knock to Colby. Like, step your game up. These other people are stepping their game up. You can look at undrafted guys. They're stepping their game up. How is Giovanni Manu going to get more progression than a Colby Sorsdal? That's the problem. He has not shown anything to have him on this team for the long haul for more development. He's got to develop. He's got to develop this training camp, or he won't be making it. He won't make the 53-man roster. This is not a Davenport situation. This is a situation where if he doesn't step up in training camp, he's gone. He and Broderic Martin is gone if they don't step up in training camp. So which Lions player must prove himself the most in 2025? Let's go with the number one player here, and that's Hendon Hooker. The pressure is there. The cooker is on Hendon. Now he's got to step up. It's time. He's had years of development behind Jared Goff. They brought in Teddy Bridgewater last year because they clearly didn't believe him fully. Brought in Allen here. Hooker's got to step up. Now, I think Hendon Hooker most definitely is going to win this backup quarterback position. I'm not worried about that. Versus Allen. You hear what I just said there? Versus Allen. If another team, if he doesn't develop, if Hendon Hooker doesn't develop more, right, in his passing game, and I've seen development. That's the thing. I 100 have seen it, and I believe he could be the backup. We're just saying if he doesn't develop, we've seen the signs already. We've seen them pick up other quarterbacks. It's just clear as day. If he doesn't develop, the Lions will look in another direction, and that's #facts. They would like to have a quarterback they fully trust behind Jared Goff to hold the X's and everything and O's and all that stuff down. They truly want that. And there's teams out there that have multiple quarterbacks like the Cleveland Browns that are Kenny Pickett or something like that that could be released. And if Hendon Hooker doesn't step up in training camp or in preseason, in which we've seen him do, the Lions could look to replace him at some point. Now, I don't see that being the case. I actually have him being the backup quarterback. But to say that he's not one of the 5 players right now that's got a lot of pressure, it's do or die, it's a must. I do think he's one of those players. I do, because it's the back end of the roster, and the Lions want to see improvement. That's just what they do. So that's my thought process on this list. Give me your guys' list in the comments. What did you think? Adios.